Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, I'm going to take it easy on you, Wes. Not because, I feel bad, but because I'm extremely tired.
Oh, yeah, but when you say you're going to take it easy on me, you mean you're going to let me do all the talking and you're going to shut the fuck up. That's,
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I have a feeling that you'll have some questions. And
I will definitely have questions, but let's be real. Today's topic is going to be more cash game related. And out of the two of us, I will gladly admit that you are the consummate cash game pro, at least in relationship to my abilities. I dabble here and there, as many listeners may or may not know. Minnesota, the state Wes and I live in, is a limit cash game state. So we typically have 2 100 here, which I don't think either one of us particularly indulges in too much. But for Wes, for example, he likes to play a lot of online no limit cash, and I'll dabble as well, just in the 200, 100 no limit streets. So smaller stakes than him. He dabbles in the 500 and the, I don't even, what do you call it? We'll just say 5, 10, 10, 20 games to make it more simple.
Anywhere from 1-2 to 10-20, really. In terms of the bankroll challenge, which I just started up again last night, it's currently only up to 2-5, just because we haven't grown it enough to play 5-10 yet.
Well, you're following strict guidelines for your for your challenge to make sure that you don't just go busto in one night.
Exactly.
What is that? I think you came up with an absolutely awesome title for this episode. What should, or I think we're gonna call it. You know what? No, we'll just let the people read it before they click it. Actually, let's leave it there.
Yeah, they'll see it. They'll see what it is. And yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of home games. I've played a decent amount of cash out in Vegas and whatnot. So, and then a ton of online. So I play a ton of cash, and I know we normally talk about tournaments on the podcast, but yeah, today we're going to get into some cash. Maybe we'll do some more depending on how the people feel about it.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are are tournament players, but I know a lot of even tournament players dabble in cash once in a while, and I think this episode will be beneficial to all types of players, whether you're not a cash game player or not a big cash game player. So I know I will be listening with open ears, typically how you listen, but
you're just gonna put earplugs in. La, 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 la.
Yeah. I'm going to be, anyways, paying attention, though, because I know even I can learn a little something here through this discussion. So, I think this is going to be fun, and let's go ahead and get into it, Wes.
Sounds good. So I have a list of a few things that people tend to do wrong, especially, the people I see play tend to do wrong in cash games. I view these people, not beginners, but a lot of the people who may listen to this podcast or who I've played with in home games, who I feel like are competent players who think about the game, but like just might not fully get the fundamentals or might have some bad tendencies. Before I say any of them, do you have any guesses as to what one of these things might be that a common mistake in cash games?
Flatting
pre-flop. Yep, that's a good one. So one of the first places to start is in a cash game. We don't have an ante in the middle. Almost never is there going to be an ante. And for the sake of today, we're going to assume there's no ante. And then there's also rake. So those two things contribute to the fact that we should not be playing as loose pre-flop. And when we get in a pot, we should not be doing so passively. We should be giving ourselves a chance to win pre-flop a lot.
Especially, can I say even more so pay attention if you're out of position compared to in position if you're flatting?
Yeah, or small blind, because you can defend the big blind, but if you're in the small blind, you are
pretty much never just flatting raises. You're always 3-betting or folding pretty much from the small blind position. Is that right?
You can do some flatting, but there's never a situation where a hand is like, oh, we should 100% flat here.
Okay. And if you do, Wes is going to come knock on your window and flick you off.
Exactly. That's exactly the plan. So we're gonna just take a look at a couple basic spots when we're 100 big blinds versus 200 big blinds deep. To start off, if we're 100 blinds deep, and let's just say we're playing some six max. So under the gun, low jack. Let's say that player opens, and let's say we're next to act in the hijack here.
Do you want to clarify? I guess I'll just clarify. Under the gun, low jack, six max. Low jack is under the gun in a six max. So he's not playing two positions. Just low jack and under the gun are the same position. Sorry, go ahead.
Correct. And so if let's say we are next to act, so under the gun opens, we're next to act. I think a lot of people would have some flats here. I think a lot of people would play a lot more hands than you're supposed to. I'm going to list off some of the hands that we either completely want to fold or mostly want to fold in the hijack here.
I like it.
Yeah. Ace jack offsuit, queen 10 suited, ace 9 suited, pairs below eights.
This is hands we are opening. Or if we're facing a raise already,
we're facing a raise from under the gun, and we're
from hijack. Low. You said from hijack, so next to act. Yeah. I got you. Okay.
So a lot of the suited aces, except for ace 5 and ace 4 suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited. I think the jack 10 suited will shock the world, because I think we view jack 10 suited as a hand where if you're deep, you always have to get it.
It's the prettiest hand in poker. Let's be real.
It is, right? So a lot of
is this saying hands we should fold or hands we should consider three betting or
fold?
Really, to just a low jack open, hundreds of big blinds deep in hijack, we just want to fold jack 10 suited.
Yep.
I'm never doing that. I don't care what you.
Yeah, and so
I'll three bet it.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like jack 10 suited, I'm kind of listing off the hands that are the top of the folding range, and some of these are mixes where it's like we can three bet sometimes, and realistically we could just three bet some of these, but like jack 10 suited, queen 10 suited, ace jack offsuit, ace 9 suited, ace 3 suited, pocket sixes, fives.
I feel like a lot of these work great as three bets as well. I will mention, though, you have told me in the past that in cash games specifically, compared, I guess, in relation to tournaments, is that we're going to be a lot tighter pre-flop. And I guess this aligns with that belief.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I would say, like, generally speaking, if I'm playing an online 2-5 game, the jack 10 suited I'll mix in there. As far as pairs, like,
do we set mine this deep? I guess that's my
no. We're never flatting here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a flatting range here
in the hijack to a low jack open.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're three bet or folding, and the only hands we're pure three betting are ace 10 plus, king 10. Sorry, ace 10 suited and better, king 10 suited and better. 10s plus, ace king off, ace queen off, queen jack suited pretty much, although it can fold. King queen off, we go back and forth with.
Between pocket fold and three bet, you're saying?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Pocket nines, we still mix three bet or fold, and then we mostly three bet, and then eights and below in terms of pairs, we mostly fold with the occasional three bet.
Can I pause you and ask you a question?
Yeah.
In reality, how much are you sticking to these guidelines? And are you adapting due to the play you see at your table?
I'm almost 100% sticking to it.
Okay.
And so I'm saying in terms of online, if I'm in a live cash game, I will include just the cuspy ones. Like I won't really fold the pairs as much.
Yeah, the jack 10
have
suited.
all the hands that are mixes, I'll usually three bet.
Yeah.
In a live cash game. So that's like the medium pocket pairs. I'll still probably fold fours and below. Sorry, threes and below.
Thank you. Okay, I feel better. You almost had me.
I forgot that fours. Well, fours we can just flat because we want a bunch of players in the pot.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Flop the set. But
Nailed it.
So I am in live because it's a little more passive. I will get in there a little bit more. But I'm not going to deviate a ton. So just because we're talking about, cash, or sorry, live versus online.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deviate too much in live cash, but I will be a little bit looser.
Okay.
And then in online, I'm really not deviating at all.
Do you think
With
are you deviating because opponents are softer in live than they are online most of the time?
Yes, yeah. So if it's like a tough live cash game, I still would play
Pretty close to how you play it online.
Yeah, very, very close.
Okay.
Stuff like the rake matters
Yep.
too, but we don't really need to get into that. Online, like if you guys are watching my stream coming up, I played a lot of cash last night.
How did that go, by the way?
I was good. I made 554.
You
I
profited
started
on the
off.
session? Okay.
Yeah, it was a decent one. Actually, the tournaments, I had a couple small cashes, and then I was about to be done with the session. I thought I was I was down like a couple hundred.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got aces cracked. I lost some other pots and I was down like 1,500. And then this 2-5 game kept running. I won a couple buy-ins back at I just had 2 tables of cash going. I won 2 buy-ins back at 1-2, and then at 2-5 we were 3-handed forever. And I actually had this pretty nasty bluff against one guy, and then I had eventually he left. I think he had it. I was just kind of
it's just catching the salami left and right. He's like,
yeah. And then I played this guy heads up for a while, and at one point I was up 4 buy-ins on him, but he got one back. So
okay, so you won.
Yeah.
You actually, that's how you ended up 5 or so. That makes sense.
yeah. So
Okay.
it was good. It went quite late, but
Okay. All right. So back to where we're at though. Hijack,
Mhm.
essentially, I mean, kind of just a quick takeaway from my understanding so far is hijack to a hijack, or excuse me, a low jack open when we're in the hijack. And by the way, guys, if you're not familiar with positions at the table, learn them and memorize them and know what each position is at how many players are at the table. So like at a 6 max, under the gun is going to be low jack. I mean, you got to know these things, especially if you're going to start talking hand histories with your friends, because this stuff is very important. So learn that if you don't. Secondly, to low jack opens, we're going to be either folding or pretty much 3-betting from hijack, and that's it, it sounds like. And then maybe deviating in live cash games just because the folds are a bit softer.
And so all of that was for 100 big blinds. If we have 100 big blinds effective. One thing I will say, and I'm looking at the 200 big blind deep chart. We can play a little bit wider, 200 bigs deep, and we can do a little bit of flatting here now.
Okay. Does it want us to flat like nutted type hands? Like hands that will flop nut, or like nut flush draws and stuff? Are we on a 3-bet those still?
So the range itself is pretty much the same. Like we can play the Jack 10 suited, Queen 10 suited now, but now something like Ace Queen offsuit is a mix between raise and fold. So like Ace Queen offsuit is actually worse now.
I'm 100% 3-betting here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Ace Queen off. That's one. I'm just like to 1 raise pre-flop. That's gonna be hard
from the hijack. Yeah, there's not a chance I'm betting that hand.
Yeah, but in terms of the pairs, it's just marginally wider. We can still 3-bet pretty much the same range, and then we can do a little flatting with like the pairs and the suited broadways, which honestly makes up most of our range anyways. So
yeah,
and even like Ace King off. The only pure 3-bets are aces and ace king suited. Even kings can flat a tiny bit. So like all that being said about 100 bigs, now that we're at 200 bigs, we can do a little bit of flatting, but we still want to be, I think, much tighter than most people are being. Like we want to fold king queen off. Like I said, ace queen off. Sometimes we want to fold queen 9 suited, jack 9 suited, 10-9 suited. Ace 9 suited is still mainly a fold. The suited connectors are you kind of mix them, but they're mostly folding. Small pairs still mostly folding. So even though you can
how different that is in relationship to tournaments.
Right. It is kind of crazy. And it does come back to the fact that there's rake and no ante.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And we talk about, is poker a science or art? I would say that, on there's 4 categories. There's live, online, and then there's tournaments and cash for each one. I would say cash is more science than tournaments. And then there is, online probably more science. Like live is more art, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, so when I'm playing the online cash, that's his like,
You're kind of
not
just
to
going
say,
by the theory, optimal theory, essential.
yeah, especially pre-flop.
Yeah.
And then, people's tendencies kind of come out later in the hand.
That makes
But
sense.
yes, so anyway, so that is a good observation, a good guess by you. We want to do much less flatting, and we want to, and yeah, just be tighter in general pre-flop.
All right. So rule number 1, people, less flatting. Let's get it together. Start putting some 3 bets in. All right.
Yep.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I would say as a general rule in cash games, I see people be too loose and too passive pre-flop. Another thing I see, and this is mostly in live cash games, but I see people cold calling 3 bets.
Okay.
Never do that.
There essentially where there's no cold calling 3 bets.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say in tournaments pretty much too. You just don't see it. Technically there are there are a couple exceptions if you're deep, if you're very deep and it's a situation where let's say there's an opener and then it's the small blind that 3 bets. In that specific case, you can cold call a little from the big blind if you are like, 200 plus bigs deep.
Yeah.
But I would still simplify it and just play a 3 better fold strategy, or sorry, a 4
4
better
bet.
fold
Yeah.
strategy. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Um, and
So I guess so first rule, kind of rule of thumb, we'll say is no flatting or less of it
yep,
at least. Stop flatting as much, and then secondly is essentially stop flatting 3 bets as much.
yep,
Cold calling
yeah,
essentially.
cold calling. Yeah.
Yeah.
My general way to look at it is I'll defend the big blind and I'll flat on the button sometimes, but in cash games where there's no ante, I'm going to pretty much just 3 better fold the other positions.
And this is just, I mean, again, seeing that there's no ante, it essentially gives us less incentive to fight for the pot, right? Is that kind of where we're landing?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's not, we're just getting a worse price. And
Are you texting in Discord while we're recording a podcast?
I'm not actually.
I just got a message that says it says you just posted in your bankroll challenge on Discord. By the way, guys, if you're not in our Discord yet, get in there. If you listen to our episode with Mike, he's in there chatting. Go and say hi to him. Come say hi to us. Come say hi to the hundreds of other people that are in there. Seemed like a great time to plug it. Let's get back to it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I actually sent that message a while back, but
Weird.
so I don't know.
Just
But
an update.
anyways, yeah. So another thing, and we're gonna stick with pre-flop for the time being. And this is kind of on the opposite side of it, is people are probably not 3 betting and 4 betting enough, especially 4 betting. And I guess the other way to say it is people are when faced with a 3 bet, I think people call those too much instead of going 4 bet or fold. Not that you can't call a 3 bet in cash. And I guess this also the stack depth also matters here, right? What are you smiling at?
I was just thinking about when I 4 bet Leo last night with the Queen 10 suited, and I see bet, and before he folded, he said, "Here comes the windmill."
Yeah.
And then of course we windmill the Queen 10 suited.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh, it was glorious. Sorry, that's why I was just
I just saw you smiling, and I'm like,
that just made me think of that. Sorry, go ahead.
"Oh, it's all right." So, anyways, I will give the caveat that if we are like 200 or 300 big blinds deep, we can flat the 3 bets more, pretty much with like the suited connectors, suited broadways, and suited aces. But I think people often make the mistake if they're like 100 big blinds deep of flatting a lot. And the ranges look a lot different. Like if we are, let's say we're cutoff first button, we open cutoff button 3 bets. and it folds back to us. We want to fold stuff like a lot of the weaker suited aces, except for ace five and ace four. We want to just fold those. We want to fold like queen nine suited. We want to fold, a lot of the offsuit broadways.
Wait, are you saying we should fold ace five suited to a 3-bet? Is that what you're saying? Or you said we shouldn't fold?
No, except ace five and ace four
Okay,
suited.
those do they want a 4-bet or do they just want a flat out of position?
Both.
Okay.
Little of both.
Okay.
And one thing I'll say about that too is sizing matters. And so
that's what she said.
Oh my God. Yep. I knew it. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
You did work a long time. I feel like you're just punchy right now.
It's me being exhausted, honestly. I've been working for like the last X amount of hours. But anyways, go ahead.
At 100 big blinds deep, we if we open cutoff and button 3-bets to like 7.5 bigs, hands like ace five suited, ace four suited are kind of break even calls / 4-bets. Ace jack offsuit is a 4-better fold. Ace queen off is mostly a 4-bet. I think ace queen offsuit is a hand in cash that people think of too, like they view it too much as a playable hand out of position, where I think it's a better 4-better fold mostly.
I feel like I've learned this a lot from you over the past couple of years, and to recognize ace queen as being played as such. I mean, ace queen suited, I feel like we can flat a lot more, obviously because of playability in that sense. But with ace queen off, I like the 4-bet over flat option or fold.
Look at that. You said something smart right after you pulled the "that's what she said" and dreaming about bluffing Leo. I'm proud of you. You came in there with some wisdom.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah. And then other bluff hands that we want to use are like king jack suited, king 10 suited, king 9 suited. We get to fold out stuff like ace jack off, king queen off, as well as some trash. But yeah, so not that we can't be calling a 3-bet, but I would challenge people to think more about, can we 4-bet some of these hands as bluffs? And then that's even cutoff.
I love
versus
that. I love that. I feel like now there's going to be people just 4-betting like crazy. I'm not sure. And then here's the thing also to take into consideration, guys, is when we are 4-betting pre-flop, and Wes, feel free to elaborate on this more after I'm done. But I think it's important that if you're going to be starting to 4-bet more often, that you need to become comfortable with board textures so you know how to proceed through the rest of the hand. Because there's a lot more, obviously, to the hand than just, say you 4-bet and get called. And, typically you guys are going to be all in probably by the turn because the pot's already so inflated. But
could be,
my point is that don't just start blasting off just because you 4-bet ace queen off and hit nothing. Be prepared. Maybe let me know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's a good point. And so let's say we are. You know what? Let's take this example. So should we go cut off first button?
Let's do it. Yep.
Yeah.
So cut off. We're cut off. We'll say with ace queen off.
Yeah, and button 3-bets, and we 4-bet.
Yep.
To 20, 21 bigs, and let's say button calls.
And we're sizing up because we're out of position.
Yeah, a little more like 3x.
Yeah.
Little, I guess under 3x, but yeah. Let's say, what's kind of a tricky flop to play if we have ace queen?
If we have ace queen, I would say something like,
Jack 9.
I was going to say king 9-4 with a two-tone.
Okay. King of spades, 9 of hearts, 4 of hearts.
Yeah, perfect.
Should we say we have a heart in our hand?
We'll say we have the ace of hearts, queen of diamonds.
Ace of hearts, queen of diamonds. All right. So the SPR is a little under 2 now. What do you think our plan is on this flop here?
I mean, see, this is where things get tricky, right? When you 4-bet, and I feel like this is where people are going to start to struggle, right? This is a great example. So, how much is in the pot? Like 45 bigs?
Yeah, 43.5, and then we have 79 behind.
And this is what might be where my first leak is, but I mean, I want to give myself a chance to win the pot. So I'm just going to start off by betting small here. I would say something along the lines of like 12.5 bigs or something.
Yeah. So like, oddly enough, we can kind of mix, and yeah, so that's That's a solid play. We can mix between
Check folding
mostly
too.
quarter. Oh no, we're the king high board. We are full range betting here,
Right.
every hand.
That's kind of a rule of thumb I've learned as well, is that like on king high boards, especially when we're the betting, we have the betting power, we'll call it the betting position. The king high boards specifically are ones we want to continue on.
Yeah. So ironically, we can go quarter or half pot or 10th pot here.
Okay. What did I
And
say? I said about quarter, right?
it,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just over a quarter. And the funny thing is, it kind of doesn't matter. Like the EV is the same for it all.
Okay.
We'll go with quarter because that's what you said.
Yep.
Now the difference, if we go half pot, the benefit of that is we're supposed to get a lot more folds. Like pocket jacks and tens kind of have to fold mostly now. And
In theory, make sure to remember that, guys. In
right,
theory.
in theory. So yeah, like you want to think, is my opponent going to
How
adhere to
sticky is my
that?
opponent?
Yeah. Like, is it going to be easier to fold those hands out if we just bet small now and then bet big on turn?
Yeah.
So let's say we bet quarter and get called because like we're not going to get a ton of folds.
What
We will get folds from the hands like ace 10 suited, ace jack suited, ace queen suited, and then some like suited stuff that missed. But
I think so. This is also again where it gets difficult. So say we get called. Now the SPR is what? Pretty much one.
yeah,
And then so it's king. We'll say it's king of spades, nine of hearts, four of hearts, right?
mhm.
Well, let's say we get. Let's give two scenarios here. Let's give one where we turn a gutter to the nutter, like the. Let's say like the
Jack of diamonds.
yeah, the jack of diamonds. We'll say. In that position, and then on the second scenario, we'll just say it's a banana, like the deuce of diamonds.
Okay.
Um, are we continuing on both of these on the king high board? This is where I start to like question. This is where I dial back and go, what am I going to get my opponent to fold here? Are they sticky? I mean, I'm thinking on the flop as well, but I'm saying like, what would they call the flop that they're now going to fold? I don't think they're going to be folding any king X's. Maybe they got sticky with tens or queen, tens or queens. I guess they could both still have. Yeah, I don't know. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on both of those turns?
The jack one is tough.
I feel like this is a hand where I'd be more compelled to double barrel on the jack than I would on the deuce.
Yeah, the main hands, if we were to barrel on the jack, we mainly want to just go quarter again. And then if he floated with like fives through eights, those are the main hands that fold now, as well as like ace four suited, and ace queen off as well. Ace queen off and some of these like ace four suited and ace queen off mix. So we're mostly not getting folds here, but we're also not betting that large.
Yeah, we're not we're not just going all in to get them. I mean, here's the thing: is a quarter pot at this point should be enough to get those hands to fold instead of just jamming and then getting called by a hand that beats us.
Yeah, but we do get called by most of the range or raised.
Yeah.
And
See,
then
I
on
hate
the
these spots, but that's why they're difficult, right? They're hard to navigate.
it does kind of suck. And that, for those who don't play a lot of cash, playing the deep stacks like this can be pretty tricky.
For sure.
Now if the deuce of diamonds comes, we can bet the solver recommends, doing some half pot with our hand as well as quarter. So like if we were to bet half pot on the deuce, now hands like the floats, like the queen jack suited, jack 10 suited, pocket
yeah.
like pocket tens, jacks, even queens should all kind of fold
Yeah.
more often than not. Still,
So is it? I guess maybe I'm wrong then that we should be double barreling on the deuce more than we should on the jack.
I think in both cases, we mostly want to bet according to the solver.
Okay.
The thing is, like, yes, the jack gives us some equity, but also it gives him generally, like, he'll have some of those, like, he could turn a straight with a jack. Not actually, no, he won't really have queen 10 suited theoretically, but his gutters make a pair. He can have pocket jacks. He can have like ace jack suited that floated.
Yeah, I mean,
so the deuce kind of misses him just as much too. And in terms of us repping the jack, like we're not gonna we're not going to be like value betting a jack.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
It is a tricky spot though. And then, it's like what do we do on rivers? I
I
think
mean, right,
the
because
idea
now you
is,
have a .5 SPR or whatever.
yeah, if we bet quarter and then
Yeah. So it's like, well, do we even have fold equity at this point? I feel like at this point, if say we get bet quarter on this turn on either of these turns and then get called and we just are completely dust at this point, I'm most of the time just going to give up and try and save those last big blinds because I feel like I have no fold equity. And if they called both of those streets, I mean, and we now have a .5 SPR, what are they going to fold now to that? You know what I mean? So I might be
I think,
wrong, but that's just kind of my
yeah,
initial thought.
yeah, I would think of it like, if you think about the range we're going to be betting here, it's going to be a lot of aces, a lot
Ace
of ace
king,
king,
yeah, pocket
and
kings,
yeah, it could be kings. And it's like we
but it's condensed to pretty much those three hands.
we'll have some like king 10 suited, king jack suited,
I guess, yeah, I guess some of those that we had mentioned earlier. Okay.
and then we'll have some yeah, in terms of the value, it's actually we can even have queens if we're going quarter pot, quarter pot. Like let's take a look on the turn. And this is the deuce of diamonds turn, by the way. Our opponent can still float us with a lot of like somewhat weak stuff. Jacks, tens. If we bet quarter on the turn, like some of these pocket pairs can still float us, and then even like queen jacks, even just the pure gutter can float us. Queen jack suited.
It's a gutter to yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's not. Oh yeah, it's a gutter to the
Yeah.
nutter. It is, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so we want to be able to, like, if we jam river here for half pot, now we get to fold out, the like a lot of the one pair stuff. And keep in mind, our opponent is supposed to call off. Like, I'm going to say the river is the 5 of diamonds.
Yep.
So king 9 4 2 hearts, then deuce of diamonds, 5 of diamonds. We are supposed to pretty much 100% jam this with ace queen. Yeah, just basically think of it this way mathematically. Like, if we bet half pot, our bluff only has to work 1 out of 3 times. Like, if it works, we win about twice the amount that we lose when it works. So it only needs to work like a little better than 1 out of 3 times to be profitable. So if we basically just don't run into a king or a set, like if our opponent has a flush draw or a pocket pair or one of those gutters, and like, yes, we are ahead of some of it with ace queen, but if we check,
They'll
we are
bet.
going to be check folding.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we're kind of auto losing that pot.
Yeah.
Assuming they're going to bluff their misdraws, which they should, I'd assume. So, okay. Okay, that makes sense. So, okay, backing up here, we have, kind of tip number one is less flatting, more three betting pre-flop. And then the second one is less cold calling three bets. So we don't want to cold call three bets. And then kind of the third thing we've just discussed is four bet, what hands to four bet, and four betting more frequently, and kind of how to play those post flop.
Yep.
Okay, I like it. I think these are all going to be super beneficial to. I mean, immediately those will be beneficial to improving my game, and I think they will for a lot of the listeners as well. What other topics do we kind of want to discuss before we start wrapping up?
Yep. So the last thing for pre-flop, limping
Is not pimping.
Yeah, limping is not pimping.
Even if you're in the small blind, even if it folds you to the small blind,
you can do that.
Okay,
you
okay,
can do that.
okay.
I don't. I go razor fold, but there is a strategy for limping.
I've always gone razor fold from the small blind as well.
Yeah, or if you're a live player and you like to chop, do your thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know like if chopping is bad. Whatever, it is what it is. So
it's whatever your preference. And then, so now let's just say post flop. Some things that I notice. You are probably not you, but the general listener, probably not betting big enough a lot of times. I've seen this sort of habit of people let's say it's a game of 2-5 and you raised to 20 pre-flop, and then you bet 20 on the flop, and you bet 30 on the turn, and you bet 50 on the river.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of this like just sort of neutral sizing where I feel like a lot of times people will bet on the smaller end. It's sort of like they're correcting their strategy in a way if they're not bluffing enough with that line, because they're like, oh, subconsciously they're like, oh, I know that I don't really do this as a bluff, so I need to make the price really appealing for my opponent to call.
Okay.
And I know I
Okay.
actually on stream last night, someone in the chat and I had both noticed this about the guy who was playing heads up. His 3-bet sizing was way too small. And so
Okay.
at first I was like, maybe I want to call this more, but then I'm like, he might actually be just not 3-betting me nearly enough. And I think a lot of times when people don't bluff enough, they also bet too small because that's their way of getting called.
That makes sense. Yeah. So instead of having the image of where they're going to get called lighter because they 3-bet at a high frequency, they're trying to not balance that, but they're trying to now work their way to getting called by giving you correct pot odds.
Yeah. And it just sort of, it just sort of manifests in this sort of type of game where you're not really getting a lot of value and you're not taking down pots with bluffs. Like it's usually types of players who will take one stab as a C bet and then kind of give up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those players. Bear with me one moment here, Wes.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, sorry about cutting you off there. I had to go get me a little protein shake to juice me up for the end of this conversation.
That's right. I actually had one of those too.
Okay. All right. So where were we at?
So we were just talking about post flop. I think people often don't bluff enough and don't bet big enough in a lot of spots. And these two things go hand in hand. So, we just looked at a spot where we 4-bet and then bet quarter pot. So like that's all well and good, but there are spots where I think people just sort of auto go for a small C bet. It's one of those things that we don't want to like automatically default to.
Is it more likely that, because I see a lot of, and I do a lot of small C betting in tournaments. Is that where we're going to kind of differentiate cash games from tournaments? Or is it just incorrect?
Actually, no. I think this is the same in tournaments.
Okay.
But I think, a big bet in a tournament when you're 40 bigs deep
is going to be a different size.
Yeah. So I think the down bet is still sometimes overutilized in tournaments, but like when you have a shorter stack, a quote unquote big bet still isn't like huge.
Okay.
So, so I was actually looking at a bunch of these sort of flops just last week. And here's one of them. So we have I have as ace jack 5, but let's just ace jack 4. I mean, we want the ace jack 4 flop, right? That's kind of our
we'll
call it the suited kings flop.
I love it.
Let's say ace jack 4 with 2 spades, big blind checks, and we are in the hijack. I think a lot of people default to just like a third pot here.
Okay.
And ironically, that's kind of the thing you don't want to do. We want to, on ace jack 4, we want to check about half the time, and then we want to bet either 3/4 or like over bet the pot slightly pretty much all the rest of the time.
With bluffs and with value.
Yeah, and so we're actually going to check our weaker aces a lot of the time, and then our value is going to be the strong, ace 10 plus, and then the sets, and that's about it.
Okay. I mean, I like it a lot. I need to start implementing that more. I'm very familiar, especially recently, of how people should be playing these ace high flops heads up. It's like there's just way more checking than people imagine there would be.
Yeah. And like, the bluffs will be like the gut shots, the flush draws, but actually even just hands like queen 9 suited, no flush draw. Every hand can kind of mix it up. The pocket pairs. And then the way to extrapolate that, and I was studying all these different sort of double high card boards like King Jack, Queen 10 low card, Ace 10 low card. My basic conclusion was like on king high boards, we can bet like quarter. Those are the boards we want to see bet small on. And then
I like kind of general rule of thumb stuff. So let's get more of that.
Yeah, it's much easier to just do it that way. And then the Jack 10, Queen 10 boards, those we bet big on a lot of times, some small, some big. And then the ace high boards, we do some check, some bet. And then when we bet, it's usually a bigger bet.
Okay, I'm gonna start throwing some pot size or over pot size C bets.
Yeah,
I don't I don't know if I've ever I've overbet pot many times in my day, but it's not often, if ever, on the flop.
Right, and it's I think people have sort of got in the habit of small C bet and then you size up turn and maybe river, but there's no rule that says we can't size up the flop too. And yeah, I think a lot of the times we size up flop, it's with a hand that we view as close enough to the nuts in terms of our value hands. And that's why when we have the nut advantage in our range, that's when you want to bet big.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
I mean, and that's with bluffs and with value.
Correct. Yeah, you always want to have a balanced, have bluffs for all your your values. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've definitely heard. Look, I've certainly said this too, and it's true sometimes. But I hear people talk about, oh, the value sizing, or this is a bluff sizing. And I actually remember once upon a time I was coaching someone, and he sort of had like he knew that he did it. He was like, I bet smaller on this river to try and get called, or I bet bigger to try and get him to fold. And it's like, well, first off, if someone figures out what you're doing, you're kind of screwed. But either way, yes, you'll get more folds when you bluff, but you're still losing more when it doesn't work. And yes, you'll get more calls when you bet small, but you're winning less. So like, just build the strategy together. And
I think people, I guess, maybe correct me if I'm not articulating this correct, but it's like, think more about the long term than in that specific hand.
Yes, that's a really good way to think about it. Think about the long term. Think about the expected value. If there are any listeners out there who don't fully understand what EV means in poker terms, definitely buckle down on that.
And then, go put it into ChatGPT and ask it a lot of questions.
Yes. And it's especially
or hop
true
into our
cash.
Discord.
Yeah, Discord too. And maybe we do an episode on a lot of those.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we should do an EV episode. I like that. And just kind of explain all the different topics that kind of surround EV.
Yes.
Electric vehicle.
One. Yeah. And yeah, just think about, because there's no ICM in cash. You're just playing for how much money you're going to win or lose long term. And if you can, it's a lot more of a math game, right? Like there's a lot less. I shouldn't say it's more of a math game than a tournament. The math is easier to figure out in a cash game, because in a tournament, there's all these different factors going on. In a cash game, it's just the hand you're just trying to play and make as much money as you can.
You don't need to outlast. You don't need to do this. Like there's no ICM, like you said.
Yeah, there's no such thing in cash as waiting for a better spot. It's either plus EV or it's not. And if it's plus EV, you just take it.
Ooh, well said. I like that. Okay.
I think, there's a lot of stuff we can get into in terms of cash. And I'm actually kind of encouraged to do some more cash episodes, especially now that we're doing 2 a week.
Yep.
We can mix some more in.
I would love to start tackling cash more. And I think a lot of here's the truth is like a lot of these tournament grinders, I kind of advise that they do dabble with cash a little bit to help keep their bankroll afloat. You're gonna not only their bankroll afloat, but also their mental state. You're gonna have more winning sessions playing cash games, which will just make you feel better in terms of tournaments where you're just not you cash one out. We'll say the best cash 1 out of 5 roughly.
Sure.
And yeah, it's just like in cash games, you're just gonna have a much higher win rate than in tournaments. So it kind of helps pad the bankroll, but also your psyche a little bit. Psyche, I should say.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's well said.
Okay. All right.
So we'll go down the list again. The last thing I was going to say was you're probably not check raising enough. Yeah, I mean that is true, but I think it goes mostly into the category of aggression, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if we go down the list of everything we talked about today,
Yeah, go ahead.
The mistakes you're probably making in cash, probably being too loose and passive pre-flop, calling too many opens, calling too many 3-bets, overcalling too many opens, overcalling too many. I guess we didn't even talk about this, but when you overcall an open, so let's say there's a raise and a call.
Yeah.
I think people
overcalling. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think people think that because there's more money in the pot that you should call more, and it's actually the opposite. And this is actually the last key point we should talk about.
I'm assuming it aligns because your equity is reduced.
Right. Like, it's not only do you have some reverse implied odds, because let's say there's a raise and a call. Like, sure, we can flat our pocket threes, but we can also get set over set. Like, the flatter is going to have a lot of pocket pairs. But the main thing too is, like, if there's a raise and a call, yes, we're getting a better price, but there's also that many more people to win the pot against. So we're just, because we only need to win the pot X amount of the time, are we really going to do that with 2 or even 3 other people in there? So
it's going to be harder for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just kind of start back from the beginning here. So tip number 1, less flatting posts are pre-flopped. Quit calling people, start 3-betting more or folding more.
Yep. So yeah, the list of things you're probably doing too much of, you're probably being generally just too loose and passive. You're calling too many opens, calling too many 3-bets, over calling too many opens, cold calling 3-bets too much, not 3 and 4 betting enough, limping too much, and then post flop, not betting big enough, not bluffing enough, not check raising enough. I would also say maybe calling too much.
Yeah.
Especially in multi-way pots, like calling hands in multi-way pots that are maybe calls heads up, but don't have the equity multi-ways. And to all you out there listening, when I say you are doing this too much, I just mean the general public. I'm sure this applies to all of us to some extent. This
You're gonna have a witch hunt, just people outside your apartment with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, just Wes is being mean to me.
I love it. I think, we'll go ahead and get into more cash game content in future episodes. Like you said, now that we're doing 2 episodes a week, which I'm very excited about. We love this. And, more guests, more content, more tournament strategy, more cash game strategy. I need to improve my cash game. I would like to dabble more. So I'm definitely going to be heeding this advice. Maybe even tonight I'll hop in some cash games and dabble and try and mess with it. And if you guys are uncomfortable with it, I would suggest maybe testing some of the stuff out at lower stakes than what you normally play, just to kind of get comfortable with it.
Or you can play me heads up. I mean,
here we go. Of course. Speaking of heads up, Wes, let's get a match going for rolls here soon, and we'll build the hype up around it.
So I'm not going to be streaming tonight, but I will stream tomorrow. And I'm sure the people would love to see you just hop onto Clubs Poker and play me heads up.
We should have them set up a heads up room so we don't have to deal with other people hopping in.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. But guys, speaking of Clubs Poker, big shout out to our guest from this week, actually, Mr. Mike Wilklow, who won the $1 million WSOP gold bracelet.
And then he just ships the meetup
game. Then he ships the meetup game. So he got that awesome gold tag in the Discord. Good job, Mike. I think it was like almost $700 up top in the meetup game. Is that right?
Wow.
Sorry, sweep.
He doesn't spend it all in one place.
Hey, okay, high roller. 700 sweeps is a lot to some people, all right? So
that's true.
Yeah, guys, hop in every 2 weeks or so. Pretty much every 2 weeks on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. We will have a meetup game. Stay tuned next week for the more information on our next one. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to check out our collaboration with Tilted Compass Apparel. We have Suited Kings hoodies now ready to go. You can go and get yourself a Suited Kings hoodie. Not only this. Go
The
ahead.
t-shirts too.
Yeah, t-shirts. I mean, yeah, we got Suited Kings apparel. If you guys don't have that yet, hop on to the link in the description. You'll see there. Buy some Suited Kings merch. Super comfortable, looks good, and definitely reasonably priced. So check that out. Next, we have our Patreon. If you guys are enjoying the way that we teach and enjoy learning from us, make sure to check out our extremely valuable Patreon page. At $15 a month, you get access to all of our training content that we've produced and released, but specifically to Patreon members only. And if you have, ideas that you want to improve about your game, and we haven't made a video about it yet, you can pop in the Patreon channel in our Discord and make those suggestions, and we'll make content tailored to your needs. So now that we're back from Vegas, we'll get back into more content making. I think Wes and I will actually start doing some Patreon content together. And on top of that, we might even start adding full episodes. Oh, now Wes is doing weird shit in the camera. Here we go. But anyways, yeah, make sure to check out the Patreon. Check out Wes's Bankroll Challenge. You can find the links to all this awesome stuff in the description of wherever you're listening to this. And actually, one other exciting thing, Wes, I haven't even told you this yet. I think I'm going to start uploading all of our episodes to YouTube here soon, just the audio format,
Nice.
so people can listen on YouTube too. So
It's a good idea.
yeah, why not? Why not? It might take a little extra work, but I think I'm going to get working on that here eventually. We'll get on with that. Am I missing anything?
Are you missing anything?
Only just making
Yeah.
fun of you, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
But guys, hope you enjoyed this cash game strategy episode. We look forward to making more of that. Please hop in the Discord into the episode suggestion and feedback channel and let us know what you thought about this episode. Is this something you guys want more of? That feedback helps us, create the best content we can for you guys. Thanks so much for being a part of this, and we will see you guys next week with a couple more episodes of the Suited Kings podcast.
Let's go.